Hello, I'm Katie Cardoan, and this is the eighth and last episode of the season 2 Unlearning livestream series. And the topic for today is unlearning bad workshop sentiments. Now, throughout this season, we have covered a number of areas regarding what we can unlearn to avoid bad workshop tactics. And today we're going to focus on the sentiments. And I would love you to leave with a good feeling about workshops, being excited about workshops, and also maybe some questions that you could answer for yourself so you can improve your overall workshop experience moving forward. So let's get to it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to add them in the comment section, either you participate live or whether you would watch the recording later on. So with that, let's get to it. And in this series, I share a number of examples, very practical examples about unlearning. And I find this topic really fascinating. It's important because we can't just learn new things all the time. We also need to say goodbye to a number of old things not serving us anymore. And very often that requires a change of perspective, that requires a change of behavior, which may take time. So it's important that we are fresh, that we are deselecting things that are not serving us anymore, and that we focus on the new things that we need in order to stay employable and in demand moving forward. When it comes to this season and the topic of unlearning bad workshop tactics, some of the topics have been focusing on either preparations phase or the execution phase or even the follow-up phase of a workshop. And some things are throughout the three different phases. Today's topic serves as a summary topic, and I will touch upon a few of the different phases as you can see here. When we are determined to unlearn something, there are three simple steps. And of course, it's much more advanced when you look into the details. But on a high level, first of all, you need to understand what are the facts behind your behavior, the thing you want to change. Why are you doing it? Why has it served you? So you need to understand why that is still showing up as your default behavior. Secondly, you need to state or phrase the new perspective. You need to decide upon your changed perspective in order to pursue that. And when you have identified and nailed that, then you can actually start practicing your new strategies and change the behavior over time. And that will take various amounts of time, depending upon how grounded this perspective of yours is. So it could take a day, it could take a week, it could even take weeks or even months, because we are so bound by and defaulting towards, gravitating towards our old behaviors, unless we are very consciously choosing not to. So with that in mind, let's look at today's topic. And when it comes to workshop sentiments, I would love to just share three different items with you today that you can bring on and reflect about more yourself. There are some times when a workshop is not a good fit, which could create bad sentiments. And there are some times where a workshop is a very good fit, and that hopefully then will create some excitement and good sentiments around that. So it's all about managing these sentiments. And I would like to also then close off today by sharing another challenge for you in that space. When it comes to the first point here, when the workshop is not a good fit, that is, of course, if you have a more traditional kind of meeting. You may call it a workshop, but in fact, it might be just a meeting. You are exchanging information. You might have a itemized agenda, which is time boxed with very clear titles. And the roles in the room are quite informal, but the leader might not be informal, might be, I would say, not neutral, which means that everybody has a specific agenda up front, and there might be a lot of positioning going on. And this might not be the best climate for being creative and being, I would say, in a good mood to come up with new ideas and challenge each other. So whether your meeting is called a workshop or a meeting, you need to be paying attention to these kind of components of the get together. So you understand that this is in fact not a good setting for a workshop, because mainly we are exchanging information. We have a very fixed agenda with time boxed items, and the leader of this meeting is not neutral. Which means if we then change the perspective on those items and we talk about what is a good fit for a workshop, it's of course the opposite, right? So a workshop is a good fit if you want to solve a specific problem. If you want to bring together a number of people and have a climate of experimentation, of sharing, of openness towards something that might not have been defined. And whether you are looking to create a new policy or a new product or a new design, or come to a conclusion on a certain topic, there needs to be some playfulness and a lot of flexibility in that. And it's all about using that synergy in the room. So in order to make sure that workshop is the right answer to your activity, you should have a flexibility, and sometimes there is no need for a communicated agenda. The facilitator, however, will need an agenda, but it needs to be very flexible, because you want to make sure that you allow for that creativity in the room and that you also involve people, even though people might have different preferences in terms of whether they are extrovert or introvert. Another very important role is also that people are brought into that room because they are experts. Maybe they are reference people. Maybe they are experts in the areas of a speciality. So they are invited in order to be of service, to solve that problem, to bring different aspects, different perspectives, different ideas to the table, and also part then of the anchoring and the decision-making process afterwards. However, the leader of the meeting needs to be neutral, the facilitator. And then you might wonder, what happens if you are asked to facilitate a workshop also as an expert? Is that possible or not? And I would say it's a bit tricky, but you need to be very clear with yourself and with the participants that in this session, in this part of the meeting, in this part of the workshop, I am the facilitator. I will, however, sometimes bring on my expert hat. I will use my expertise sometimes, and then I will change the way we structure the session. But you need to be very clear on when you are facilitating and when you are the expert. So basically, in general, I would say the good recommendation is that you should not be the expert when you are facilitating a workshop. But if that's not possible, you need to be very clear towards yourself and to your audience that you will step out and in of that role. So I hope that makes sense in terms of when workshops is a good or are a good fit or not. And if it doesn't seem like a workshop, it's probably a meeting. And maybe you could change the type of meetings you have. Maybe you could I would say make the meetings more interesting. Maybe there could be more discussions. Maybe you can have people read things up front. If you're looking just to monitor or review progress, then you might not need a long meeting for that, but you want a meeting in order to discuss things, to bring different things and perspectives to the table, and then, of course, make decisions. So sometimes it's a bit blurry between the two, but the key thing is that workshops are meant to resolve problems and to bring people together for synergies. And that brings me to the last point here as well, about managing the sentiments, because I would love people to be more excited about workshops. And sometimes I meet people who have a very negative notation because they have a bad experience or two or several. And what I say is that it's really important to think about the workshops as a tool, as a forum for where you want to use the potential of the group, the synergies among the participants, and you want them to be safe in an environment where they can work both alone and together. by coming up with ideas, by sharing ideas, by discussing ideas, and also about making decisions. And throughout that, you will have a lot of engagement, hopefully, and also some very good discussions. And very often, if it's a good workshop, you should expect the unexpected. So in the previous episodes, I've talked a number of times about the different types of results that can come out of a workshop. It could be tangible ones, it could be intangible ones. And in a great workshop, there will be more results than you expected, and some of them might not be tangible. It could have to do with the culture, with the atmosphere, with the teaming, and so on. So please make note to self about when it makes sense to offer a meeting versus a workshop, and do your utmost to really benefit from the workshop experience, because it's fantastic when you come up with results that are not expected as well. So I hope that you will be experimenting more with workshops. And I would also like to say that if you're interested in learning more about workshops, either you are a facilitator yourself or you are a participant, I have a challenge for you, and I also would like to remind you about a recording that I offer free of charge. So today's challenge, the last for this season, is about the sentiments, right? So which bad workshop sentiments are you affected by yourself? Doesn't matter if you're a facilitator or a participant. Probably you have some bad sentiments and you bring that to your next workshop. Maybe it's time to stop and reflect and maybe set some expectations towards yourself, but also towards the participants that are joining you in your next event. So think about that, and I wish you the best of luck with your next workshop. Now, what happens now? We will have a couple of weeks off, and then we will launch the new season, and there will be I would say, there's a secret topic right now. We're just finalizing the last couple of details, and we will launch that within a few weeks. So please come back for season 3 as soon as we have launched the next Unlearning season. Now, I have a question here, and let me put that on. So Magdalena is asking whether I think that a meeting sounds like it requires less from the participants than a workshop. Well, this is really a cultural thing, because in some cases, a meeting would require a lot of pre-work and a lot of engagement. But I think we all know that sometimes it's really easy to hide and to be passive in meetings. And I would say that it's likely that the workshops are more engaging, at least if you as a facilitator will be able to encourage all participants to join in, whether they are introvert or extrovert. So it's more difficult to hide in a workshop to some extent, but I would say that a good meeting leader would be able to also get the most out of their meeting participants. So I can't say for sure. Great question. Thank you, Magdalena. So with that, I encourage you to add more questions about this, and maybe you don't agree with me at all. Let me know if you have any other opinions or experiences. I would love to capture them as well, so feel free to add more comments afterwards. And as I said, season 3 will be launched within a couple of weeks. Then the last thing for me is just to remind you about this recording, and it's called a workshop insight session. It's like 20 minutes long, and you will be able to pick up a lot of dilemmas and tips and hints from preparations throughout the execution and also the follow-up of workshops. And the link is bit.ly/workshop hacks. So enjoy that, and good luck with your workshops, and I hope to see you soon again in the next season of the Unlearning, Lunch and Unlearn episodes. So welcome back. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Bye.